Hi, so today we are going to paint some easy watercolor roses. Here we have all the materials that we need to paint these beautiful roses. The first material we have here is the 300 GSM watercolor paper. As you can see, it is textured in nature, which means it is cold pressed watercolor paper. The next material we have is the Camel Artist Watercolors set of 12. So here we are going to be using three colors, which is a scarlet red, crimson red and sap green. The next material we have are our Brustro gold Taklon brushes. I've taken 3 round brushes of the size 5, 3 and 1. Since these brushes are pointy in nature, it will really help us paint the center of the roses and different kind of strokes that go from pointy to spread out. Then we have our bowl of water, which plays a huge role in painting these roses. Lastly, we have this basic plastic palette which I've already poured the colors in. We have scarlet red, crimson red and sap green already put on the palette, which I'll be adding water to next. Now I'm taking the brush number 3 to add water to my paint. Always keep the bowl on your dominant hand side so that it's easier to access and you do not spoil your painting. We're going to use the tip of the brush, which is very pointy, to draw thin C's. As you can see, I'm drawing one C and interlocking it with the next C. We continue this process in the center. As you can see, I'm using very pigmented paint, which means I'm using less water and more paint. This is only while drawing the inner strokes. As we draw the outermost strokes, we can add more and more water as we progress through the rows. Along with adding more water, I am also making sure that my strokes are not pointy anymore, that I am applying more pressure so that I can create more wider strokes. The main aim in watercolor painting is we go with the flow. We do not try to control the water or the paint. We try to be as abstract as possible. As you can see, now I am adding orange highlights to my red rose to create a variation of color. You can even use different double colors or you can continue with a single color to create your rose. Now I'm going to use the paint that is already there in my brush, add more water to it to create wider strokes and a more abstract and blurry rose on the outside. And lastly, I'm smudging the outermost layer so that I don't have a defined rose. So this is how my rose looks. As you can see, it is very defined towards the center, and as we go to the outer layer, it is becoming more and more abstract. Now I'm adding water to my sap green to start the leaves part. Firstly, we're going to start with a main stem and then add some more tiny stems to our main stems. And these stems can have some baby leaves too before we add our bigger leaves. As you can see, we're using the pointy tip of the brush in order to create these smaller leaves. It gives us the same size and a similar pattern. Once we have done with the stems, we are going to draw the bigger leaves, for which I am using the gold Taklon brush number 5. The main aim of using a thick brush is to have a proper stroke where we use the pointy end to draw a line and then continue to draw a wider stroke using more pressure. So we use all the empty space to add in more number of leaves, and we also draw the center line on each of the leaves in the following artwork. Once you're satisfied to have filled the spaces with the bigger leaves, we can start adding small leaves and small strokes in the empty spaces. We can also dot. As you can see, I am dotting on the paper, which creates a bushy effect, and you can add more water if you want it to be more abstract, or if you want it to be more precise, just use the tip of the brush to create the effect. This is just to fill the empty spaces so that your rose is surrounded by the required amount of greens. Never worry about how the artwork is going to turn out. It is better if it turns out as abstract as possible, because that makes it more beautiful rather than having precise strokes and precise shapes and all of that. Here we have the final artwork. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you.